Hello and welcome to our 8 News Now Investigators streaming show. I'm Kyle Payne. I am joined today by my colleague, 8 News Now Investigator Vanessa Murphy, host of Wednesday night's High Heels and Hidden Truths, where she digs into some of her vault of excellent investigative reporting. But today, we're talking about some fresh material. We are taping this on the day it airs on the first Monday of February. So we are well into the new year, and you've hit it off with a bang. This past week, you were covering a trial, a trial that you broke the story that became national news because of the work that you did.
Thanks.
And now, on the heels of that, as that verdict came in on Friday, you broke a different story. You actually had the top two stories on our 6 o'clock news, two stories that have now made national headlines. This most recent one, as you can see from the bottom of our screen, is about an alleged assault on a school trip. And if you may allow me for a moment, without giving too much away, some 8th graders here in the Las Vegas Valley went to Costa Rica. They are alleged to have been about 14 at the time, and 4 of the boys are said to have done the unthinkable to one of their classmates. And you found out about this, and take it from there before we watch your story.
So I received a tip, and
as we often do,
we requested some records to make sure this was actually the case. It's a rough one, Kyle.
Right. I know it's rough. I know based on our periods where we are in our lives that this kind of thing hits a little bit differently than it might have when we were a little younger. For obvious reasons, as we go through different development stages of life. So this is not the kind of thing you want to ever read about. And the report was long and detailed and graphic.
And you went through it with me. We got a stack of court records. You have to go through a process in order to get your hands on those records. You have to essentially put in a formal request. We received those records. I believe we received them maybe on Tuesday. You had helped me go through them.
It was Tuesday.
And it was in the middle of covering another trial. We certainly didn't want to take attention away from that. But when I started looking at these court records, again, we have to be careful. These are all allegations.
Yeah, people are presumed innocent.
Yes, that's our system.
Yes.
And we went through these records, and it took me a few days to go through this. I think what I would love for viewers to know is we do not rush things on air here at Channel 8.
No.
We want to give stories the attention that they deserve, and we truly do think about the alleged victim and the rights of those involved.
Well, and our investigative unit, I think we say it so much that it maybe becomes trite, but we do get the time to work on our stories. But I will say that the documents show that this, if it happened in April of 2025.
Yes.
When these boys would have been in 8th grade.
14 years old.
And so however long it took it to get through the justice system and for it to become real enough for us to have heard about it in enough of a capacity to order documents. But then from that process, we're talking from Tuesday to Friday, you did a lot of legwork, a lot of double checking. You got in touch with all the lawyers, anybody who was anybody. Right. Well, you did all those things. You knew that before you went to find out, can we air this? Another important question in this story is, can we name the alleged victim because of his age? We had the editorial process that we use here had to be executed with precision and quickly, but it's very expansive in that you had to do a lot to get it all started up, and then on the ground here we had to do some work, and this was the result of all of that work. Vanessa's inaugural story, which I'm sure will be the first of many on this alleged assault.
Do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Vaughn Griffith, one of 4 8th graders who Metro Police say took part in the graphic and violent sexual assault of another student. The boys were on a field trip to Costa Rica last April through the Alexander Dawson School, a Las Vegas private school where tuition costs more than $30,000.
Sir, what's your true full name?
Vaughn Kendall Griffith.
Griffith, just 15, now charged as an adult for possession of visual presentation depicting sexual conduct of a child. A judge moving him from the juvenile system, calling the crime heinous and egregious and pointing to the safety of the community, while also acknowledging Griffith's upbringing and background as a class president and golf champ. The video is so graphic, the court sealed it. But police described the attack in this arrest report we obtained for more than 2 minutes. The victim screaming and crying as the boys laughed at him, threatened him, and assaulted him. Police say Griffith recorded the video and kept it in his Snapchat account. His defense attorney points to a disparate treatment between how he's treated compared to the other boys, while the Clark County District Attorney's Office is not responding to our inquiry about whether they face charges. Attorneys for the victim say they are confident the system will render justice for him. We also reached out to the Alexander Dawson School, which said in a statement, in part, the school was made aware of serious allegations regarding male middle school students while in their hotel rooms during a class field trip. They take such allegations incredibly seriously and promptly reported them to law enforcement. Police say the victim's mother told the principal, who called police last May. Then in January, a grand jury indicted Griffith. We have not named the other teens believed to be involved because it appears they are not charged in adult court. Griffith pleaded not guilty and is expected back in court in June. Records show he is no longer in custody, but he has many restrictions after a family member posted $20,000 bail. Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
So a judge needed to have certified him as an adult, meaning that he was in juvenile court, and this is not alleged. Now he has been told by a judge who really wrote an opinion very scathing of his behavior and what he should have known and how he should have maybe handled himself a little bit differently, sent him to adult court where you or I would go if we were arraigned on a crime. And that's one of the many things that we'll discuss over the remainder of this half hour that are strange. We don't see a 15-year-old on TV like that very often.
Correct.
And the charges are very serious. But I think it's important that we say at the outset, this charge had nothing to do with the actual alleged assault.
Yes.
So what did you learn?
So, as you mentioned, one of the things I want to address, Kyle, is that people are saying name the other kids. We've
Sure.
heard from viewers, why are you only naming Vaughn Griffith and not the other kids? First of all, I want to say we don't take this lightly. This is something we discussed with our boss about whether Vaughn Griffith should be named. But again, he is charged as an adult, so we've used his name. The other kids, we don't know if they are charged in the juvenile system, but what we do know is their names are not charged as adults, so we can't name them.
But we also know, based on the police report, that the police know who they are.
The police know who they are, and you mentioned the charge is more about the video police say they found through Vaughn Griffith's materials, right? The charge is not the actual alleged sexual assault because in that police report, police are saying it happened in Costa Rica. So there is possibly a jurisdictional issue. And as of Monday, February 2nd, when we're recording this, we are still working to figure out what is the status of the other kids. But at this point, it appears they are not charged as adults. That's why we're not naming them.
If they're charged at all.
Right.
And so when we get back, we'll get into the nuts and bolts. If you haven't already noticed, this is something that is not for every viewer. This is some very sensitive subject area we'll be getting into over the remainder of our program. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 8 News Now Investigator streaming program. I'm told they call this the Streaming Center. I'm with my colleague, 8 News Now Investigator Vanessa Murphy. Vanessa, so this story, I think we may have predicted would get some traction online. It did very well on our website. We're privy to some of those numbers. And then national media picks it up. Sometimes international media picks it up. And that makes sense because sometimes clickbait is, what's behind that is salacious allegations, and that's exactly what exists here. Not to undermine them; they're serious, they're heinous, but they're also very salacious. And so, as a result, social media also takes off, and so you see your story a lot of different places, and they don't follow the same journalistic principles that we're forced to, but we would also follow regardless.
Right. I mean, we certainly appreciate attribution if they are
they don't
referring to our material, but I have seen some individuals sort of try to take this story and run with it. And I think just a word of caution, we have the documents. We are working to be sensitive toward the alleged victim. We understand the law in Nevada. We are not convicting people before they are actually convicted. We're in line with the criminal justice system. And it's just a word of caution that when people are going to other forms of media, make sure you trust them and trust their journalism. We have been very careful in reporting this story. And again, I cannot stress, I read through this, you read through it, I read through it 2-3 times, going back, making notes. We want to be sensitive to the people involved, particularly the alleged victim.
So on social media, I'm getting from what you're saying that they'll take some things as fact, and then they will elasticize that, and you'll begin to wonder where the line is.
Exactly, and that's not good.
Right, because then it's sort of like it starts, the genesis is your report, and by the end of it, they're naming names maybe, or they're saying things that we simply can't say or wouldn't say or didn't say.
Right. And I think the goal should be, number one, sensitivity toward the alleged victim, in my opinion, as someone who reads these reports regularly. And Kyle, you saw the documents. In my opinion, this is one of the worst sexual assault cases alleged to have happened.
No, this is the kind of thing in the world we live in. This is the kind of thing that could be ripped from the headlines for a TV show or a movie just like that.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that, based on the collateral consequences, once people get arrested, once names are named, once lives are changed, a book could be written on this type of thing. And in the inside baseball of Las Vegas news media, sometimes we hear a high-profile case, or what we think is going to amount to a high-profile case, and one of the first things we ask ourselves is David Chesnoff? Yes, is David Chesnoff the attorney, or who is the attorney? And we know there's a handful of people that it might be, and often he is one of them. In this case, though, instead of representing the defendant, he is representing the victim.
Yeah, so David Chesnoff is a high-profile attorney in Las Vegas. So let's say an athlete's in trouble, or a celebrity, or it's an extremely high-profile case. He might be involved. David Chesnoff, Richard Schoenfeld, they work together. In this case, as you mentioned, he is representing the victim, and he did send us a statement, which I included in that initial report. And certainly one concern would be they don't want the victim identified, and that is completely understandable.
Well, I would say, as a news organization, not that I speak for the news organization, but it's my opinion that where this is a victim of a sexual assault.
Alleged.
Right, an alleged victim of an alleged sexual assault. While it's perhaps not the kind of case we generally cover with regard to assault, this person still has every right that another victim would have. And so we don't want to put that person under undue scrutiny.
Right.
And so it was an easy request to respect.
Now, and if this individual came to us and said, I want to share my story, or their attorney or parent, guardian, if they came to us and said, I want to share my story, then, or if they said, I am comfortable with you identifying them, then it changes, right? Because we have their permission. But again, that is not the case in this situation. And also, we have to remember the people believed to be involved, victim and suspects, and now this teen certified as an adult. Police are saying this happened when they were 14 years old. I also think, Kyle, that's part of why this is making headlines. The ages of the people involved, where they went to school, a Las Vegas private school, which tuition more than $30,000. The class trip, the field trip to Costa Rica. I wasn't taking a field trip to Costa Rica in 8th grade.
Me neither.
There also, one question is chaperones, right? So there's a lot of questions and just head scratching of like, what happened here?
On top of that, I'll go out on a little bit of a limb, though. You don't have to come with me, but I'll just say that back to Chesnov, who does so many high-profile cases, whether it's a starlet or a celebrity or an athlete or whatever, in deep trouble, he, I think, has a very good record of getting good plea deals for people. This is not someone, he's now representing someone who does not need a plea deal, and that makes me think that there's dollars here in a lawsuit, that somebody representing an alleged victim in this case has a lot of different parties that he could possibly sue. A school, a county, a hotel in Costa Rica. And so the angles that could come out of this for you as the reporter on this, you could be doing this for quite some time.
Well, you're the attorney here,
Yes.
not me.
Right.
But
That's why
I
I
did
went on.
check to see if any civil suits were filed before we recorded this, and I didn't see anything. But certainly, I mean, one could argue we will likely see a civil lawsuit in some form or another.
And at that point, it's going to be hard to hide from the details of what happened. And I think you have pointed out to me that what we were able to report, or what we felt it was tasteful to report, is considerably different than what we read in the reports.
Yeah. So, and again, that's part of being experienced journalists, right? You don't just get something and throw it all out there, right? We're trying to be careful here. But in the arrest report that we read, the details are a lot worse than what is in our web story and what we aired on television. Again, I mean, one thing I didn't mention, which I can mention, and I most likely will in another report, is how at the end of the video, police said that they heard one boy say something about this being a sexual, and then another boy finishing by saying assault, which I think is, again, we haven't seen the video. That's what police are saying. It's pretty chilling.
When we come back, more on this alleged sexual assault on a school trip. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 8 News Now Investigative streaming program. I'm Kyle Payne, joined today by my colleague Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now investigator Vanessa Murphy. Vanessa did some excellent work on this story of an alleged assault on a school trip in Costa Rica. 8th graders, allegedly, at the time, now presumably 9th graders. Let's say, hypothetically, that there are 4 of them, and one of them has been certified as an adult, and 3 of them, we don't know what's happened to them. That may or may not be the case. We focused on the one.
Right. And his attorney brought up he's being treated differently.
Oh, he actually said that in his statement.
In his statement.
Disparate treatment.
Yes. And so here's the thing. We know that a grand jury indicted him. We know that prosecutors pushed for him to be certified as an adult. A judge agreed. As you mentioned, she explained why. and she called it heinous and egregious, I believe.
Yes, and there was no gray area in her opinion.
Right. And she acknowledged that he has good grades. He has family support. He's a golf champ. He has a lot of good things going for him. But she said what was alleged to have happened, heinous and egregious. So she decided to certify him as an adult. He moves to the adult system. A grand jury hears from at least 2 witnesses, I believe police detectives, about the case. The grand jury decides to move forward with the case. He is charged as an adult. The other 3 believed to be involved, according to that arrest report, we do not see their names in the adult system. We have searched for days. We are trying to find out who their attorneys are, and we are trying to confirm whether they have faced charges in the juvenile system. But both here in Nevada and in federal, information for juveniles is on lockdown. That is why if someone commits a crime as a juvenile versus as an adult, the consequences are generally very different.
Right. So again, in a hypothetical situation where there are boys who don't get certified, if this is not an assault charge or a rape charge, let's say, and it was a video charge. I don't want to say merely a video charge, but if that's the charge that stuck, where one adult might face prison time, a juvenile might get counseling or a slap on a comparative slap on the wrist.
Yes.
And that's going to bring up even more issues for you as you go down this road.
Right. It's very difficult to get information about juveniles in the system. We do it sometimes, and we have their names. We have not named them because they are not charged as adults. But again, it's a challenge. Could one possibility be that Vaughn Griffith had a different judge in juvenile court and the other 3 have right? Could they have had different judges, and this judge he got was like, he's going to be charged as an adult, and the other judge says, no, we're trying to figure it out. I know it's frustrating, but
well, there are a lot of factors. They could
Yes.
one may have had an exceptionally good attorney who was able to make an oral argument that said, hey, no, not my guy. But so we don't do this in a vacuum, but sometimes we do, because what's going to happen potentially is these names are going to get out there, and people are going to report them in an irresponsible way.
As long as they're charged as long as they might be in the juvenile system and not charged as an adult, we won't name them.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, let's just say everybody at the high school finds out who was involved, and they get on social media to be like, the media's not saying it, but these are the boys.
Right.
Now, we're not going to be able to then say, well, the kids at the high school all know who it is, so we're going to do it. We still have to go through an editorial process. And to that end, it's a little bit less real life. Because
it's a case-by-case thing that we consider carefully.
And in your experience, you've been here a long time, this is the kind of story that could drag out for, I don't think you'll be done with this in a week or 2.
No.
You could end up on this for a year or 2?
Yeah, especially if civil lawsuits are filed, and there's the school angle. There's a lot of different angles here, and we will continue to look into it. It's a challenging one, and I really just don't want to take away from the allegations.
Well, I thought that and I will temper my excitement, but I thought your reporting was outstanding, as usual. And of course, you did an excellent job on the trial that you were juggling in the exact same time you were doing this. It's just more inside baseball for the viewers at home to know that this job goes for a long time past 9 to 5. That being said, Mondays at 7, you'll see this 8 News Now Investigators streaming show every Monday at 7 p.m. and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. High Heels and Truths with the one and only Vanessa Murphy, her look at some of her investigative stories. We will see you next time. Thank you for joining us.